an interesting piece. This is the Casio G-Shock Frogman. The reference number is the GWF-A1000-1A. This is a truly, a really amazing piece of technology, I would say. It has all kinds of sharp edges, built kind of things screwed on, protective coverings here, and all kinds of screws, nicks, and all kinds of add-ons, little features. So no matter where you look at it, or which side you look at it from, you always see something which catches your eye, and it's a bit like a spaceship or a Death Star or something. I guess that's the styling of the Casio G-Shock, especially of these Frogmen. And then they have the Mud Master, they have the Gravity Master, and God knows what. So I'm not that familiar with all the G-Shocks, but this is so-called the master, what they call it, master of G Frogman. And what makes this special is that it's the first fully analog dive Frogman that Casio's brought out. As you maybe know, previously they were all digital, so they've gone from digital to analog. I like that, but it's not to everyone's taste. Of course, also the really iconic G-Shock is the digital one. So they're going down a new direction. Not so sure how successful that will be. We'll have to wait and see. But anyway, when you have this thing in your hand, it feels totally solid. It has a really good finish, great build quality. Really convincing, I must say, as a watch. And of course, it is quite big. 51.7 mils across. 19.7 thickness, and the lug to lug is 52.7, something like that. So it's pretty big. Weight is around about 119 grams, so it is quite light, and that is mainly due to the fact that, so you can see this, the back. The back is actually not screwed down. It's a carbon fiber monocoque. So this design is pretty interesting. Carbon fiber reinforced synthetic material, which basically is just top loaded with all the movement, these protective rings, and then the crystal, which in actual fact is sapphire crystal, and that makes it even more attractive to have this kind of a very sporty watch, but which really has extremely strong and tough materials of which it's made. So it has a really good appeal. As it says here, it's a tough solar. I guess that's what Casio calls its solar movement. Usually lithium-ion battery that is charged by light. Same thing here, so we have a power reserve of something like 5 months if you fully charge it. Not only is it maintenance free in terms of battery, so this thing has a 6-band, multi-band 6, which means it has a radio connection to basically to international time stations, and it's updated I think at least once a day, so you really don't have to worry about setting the time. They'll always show the correct time. So there are stations in Germany, in England, in Japan, actually in Fukushima. So that's pretty interesting. Function-wise, this is a dive watch, so what makes it interesting, of course, is it has dive log functions, which means you can take your dive time up to 2 hours, you can take your surface times up to 24 hours. It will take, I think, about up to 30 logs. And as you can see here, it will show you the tide. So this L, let's go, so it has several functions. Of course, it has an alarm, it has stopwatch, countdown, timer, and this function here should be, yeah, okay, so that's the tide graph here. So we're now in low tide, so we'll go between low and high tide. Is that right? Oh God. Stopwatch, timer, alarm. And this is basically a calendar telling you the day, and we have a dual time there. So this is European time, 6 hours behind us here, 9:20, and this should be the tide graph. Yep. And normally this time should be the time at your tide point or your selected dive spot. So you can select from a list of dive spots. You can select. They are basically pre-programmed. You use a Casio app, and you connect this thing via Bluetooth to the app, which makes it pretty easy to make all the adjustments, the time, all the settings that you want to do. So I'm not going to show you the app, but yeah, that works really. It's very simple, especially the connection is almost automatic somehow. Very simple, and so it's very easy to use, or let's say to set up initially, and as mentioned, all kinds of functions, especially tool time. What's missing here is the compass. I guess the Frogman, the digital Frogman, which was the last digital Frogman, the GWF-A1000. That's the one, basically the predecessor of this watch, that had a compass, if I'm not mistaken, plus the tide graph. So this one goes analog, so some of these functions are not here. But anyway, very cool. This Frogman labeling there, or the name, and as you can see, if you look at the two push buttons, it really does look like a frog looking at you. So that's this interesting design feature, which they stay true to that. And normally this Frogman, the digital one, would have this kind of protection here, and two protectors here, and it's more or less mimicking some kind of submarine hatch. Here it doesn't fully reflect. Normally you would have, or could it, yeah, I guess you could imagine it opening this way, the hinges being here. It's better imaginable if you look at the digital ones. But very interesting. We have this huge crown here, which is very easy to operate. Screw-in crown. And it has a fluoroelastomer wristband, which is very tough, but it's not that subtle. Interesting, when you use it, it actually kind of adjusts to your settings. So you can see this like slightly indented there. So in terms of comfort, of course, it then really snuggles on your wrist if it's really comfortable. Also adding to that is this carbon fiber monocoque case back, which really does not transmit any feeling of heat or warmth or cold or whatever, as you might expect from a stainless steel case back. This one is very neutral. Another thing to point out are these rods. So they're not spring bars. They're rods with a kind of this Allen key screw in there. So I mean, this thing probably you can hang, I don't know, half a ton on that, whatever. It's just built to last. It's a tank. It's just really amazing, and it sits very comfortably on the wrist. We have a keeper here with this double, what do you call it, the little holders here for to slot into these holes. So it all has a very sturdy look. A plastic keeper here. Obviously a resin band, which maybe, I don't know whether they have some integrated metal wire or something, but they are obviously very tough. Anything else to say about this watch? I mean, the basic functions I've more or less gone through, and the look, it comes in different designs. You can see the hands are able to move very quickly. Dual core motors, 3 of them in there, and then you can start the stopwatch, for example. So we have I think it's a 24-hour stopwatch, something like that. So that works. It just takes seconds, but okay, that's fine. Then we have the timer, so you can, again, up to, I think, count down 20 or 24 hours, something like that. We have an alarm. The alarm system here, similar, I guess, obviously just be a normal beep, and interesting here for daily use. It will show you the day and then the date here at the 4 o'clock position. So let's have a look at the loom of this thing. I have a little new feature. So I have a little UV lamp here to charge up our little friend here. So as you can see, we have obviously a very good loom at the hands, the hour and the minute hand. The loom pip slightly at on the seconds hand is slightly illuminated, and then these minute markers up to the 20 minute 4 o'clock position, they also light up. Of course, it has this LED, which is now that obviously that settles everything. If you need light, this thing has light. An ultra bright LED, very bright LED, that's perfect. So this works daytime, nighttime. Okay guys, that's about it. Over and out.